This time around, we'll create a torus. Let's do that in the left view. We'll start in the middle of the viewport, then drag away to the outside. When you like the size of how far around it goes, let go of the mouse and pull back in. Once happy with the size of the hole, go ahead and left-click. Notice because we made the torus in the left-hand view, it stands on edge, making it look like a candidate we could use for a tire on a sand buggy. Let's go ahead and delete that and instead make it in the top view. Take a look at the difference. That tire for our sand buggy is now laying flat on its side, making it look more like a donut or bagel. It could also be used as maybe an inner tube for that little river rafting trip we've got coming up next week. Let's go to the Modify column and see what we can change. Adjust both the Radius 1 and Radius 2 settings. Radius 1 controls the size of the hole. Radius 2 controls just how thick or thin the object becomes. You can also adjust the number of segments and the number of sides to control the smoothness or coarseness of the geometry. Try that. Take the number of sides down to 4 and we'll experiment with both the rotation and the twist. Rotation will basically turn the surface inside out, while twist will do just that, twisting the surface as it travels from one end to the other. Let's go ahead and delete that and see what else we have to choose from. Over at the top of the right-hand column, you've got the cone. Let's make that in the top view. Again, we'll start in the middle of the view, hold down our mouse, and drag back diagonally. This will form the bottom radius on our object. When you're happy with that size, let go of your mouse and start looking in your front view. Pushing the mouse up will then control the cone's height. Now, when you're happy with the height, click again. Now, we're not done with the command. Now you'll want to diagonally either push away or pull back to control the top. There you go. Once happy with that, click one last time with the left mouse to complete the command. Let's resize our screens and scoot on back to the Modify column. Radius 1 will control the bottom of your cone. Adjust that. Radius 2 works on the top side of the cone. Now, here's something we haven't talked about yet. Values can easily be cut and paste from one field to another. Highlight the value for Radius 1 and right-click. When the options come up at the top, choose Copy. Let's now highlight the Radius 2 value, right-click again, this time choosing Paste. Now you're going to want to press Enter to lock that in. So take a look at that. Very quickly and easily, we were able to take the value from one setting and copy it over to another. Let's take the second radius value down to 0 by right-clicking on its spinner. Now we can adjust the remainder of the settings. The height, controlling the horizontal lines with height segments, controlling the number of segments in the top view with cap segments, and with being able to change the number of sides with the size setting. Now, as far as what this object could be used for in a scene, in its current shape, it could be a nose cone for a rocket, a TP for an Indian reservation, or maybe the lead at the front end of the pencil that I showed you a little earlier. If we reduce the radius 1 and increase the radius 2, we can create something like maybe a table or chair leg. Try that. So don't think that the cone has to have a tip at its top, because it doesn't. Let's delete that and go for something else. To the right of the Sphere command, you'll find another sphere option called a geosphere. To see the difference between the two, let's make them both in the top view. Now notice how our top view has kind of a left and a right side. I'm going to start with a sphere on the left-hand side. I'll now go back to the geosphere, creating one of those on the right-hand side. Okay, let's check things out in the front view. The biggest difference between the sphere and the geosphere is the layout of the lines. With the sphere, the one on the left, you see those lines are basically up and down and left and right. On the geosphere, the shape of the segments are pretty much in little triangles. So you can certainly use either of these to create a round object. Now, I gotta be honest with you, I don't use a whole lot of geospheres myself, but they certainly will have their time and place. As far as adjustments, you've got basically radius and segments. Try that. You can also change the design layout of the lines, choosing either octa or tetra. Let's go ahead and delete both those, and we'll try something else. This time in the right-hand column, let's go for the tube. Now the tube will basically look like a cylinder with a hole in the middle of it. Let's make that in the middle of our top view. When you click and diagonally drag back, you're basically setting the size of the hole. When you're happy with that size, let go and continue to drag in the same direction. This now controls the thickness of the walls of the tube. Let's keep them pretty thin, we'll let go of the mouse, we'll put our attention in the front view, and we'll push up. When you're happy with the height, go ahead and left-click to again complete the command. Once you've done that, you can move back to the Modify column. For the settings, you've got Radius 1, which controls the size of the hole. Radius 2, which controls basically the thickness of the walls. Then you've got all the other standard settings like height segments, cap segments, and sides. Now, if you ever found a reason to make a box with a hole in the middle of it, use a tube and take the number of sides down to 4. And like all the other primitives, you've got your slice on options. Okay, let's try something. We're going to delete this tube, then make another one in the left-hand window. This time, in setting the height, give it a little extra length. Now I know it's shooting off the side of the screen, but that's okay. Once we center things up, we'll have a full view of what we're working on. Once you've completed making the object, go ahead and center things up. Now with the tube having been made in the left view, it takes on more of the look of maybe a sewer pipe. But watch this. We'll go to the Modify column and activate Slice On. Now let's type in some numbers. We'll take the Slice From to 270 and the Slice To 90. Take a look at that. Now all of a sudden going to the skate park, we've got a half pipe for the skateboarders. Nailing it onto the roof of our house, we've got a rain gutter. Or taking it to the bowling alley, we've got a little channel that we can throw our ball into. Let's delete that and try something else. Staying in the right-hand column, let's click on Pyramid and we'll head to the top view. Now we're going to want to create this just like a box, so start in the upper left-hand area, then drag down to the lower right. Again, do your best to try to center those two red sticks. Okay, now once you're happy with the size, go ahead and let go and again push up. Looking in the front view, we can now control the overall height of our pyramid. Go ahead and click, then center up with Shift-Control-Z. So a pyramid shape is just pretty much what you thought it looked like. We can change the dimensions on the bottom with the width and depth. Or make the pyramid shoot higher up in the sky or lower down by adjusting the height. One more time around, we'll delete this and recenter our screens. Okay, the last one we're going to make is called a plane. It's drawn out like a box, but it doesn't have any height. So let's make one in the top view. Again, we'll go from upper left to lower right. Now that's pretty much it. When you're happy with your size, go ahead and let go and center things up. The plane has controls for changing both the length and width. Now, planes are commonly used to create things like walls and floors. So there you go. From top to bottom, that'll do it for Max's standard primitives.